A real newsmaking interview we have for you here. The chief executive of Google says he's not surprised his company is facing antitrust scrutiny, but he says he is concerned about, his words here, unintended consequences of tech regulation. Sundar Pichai is speaking out for the first time since news broke of a potential probe into Google by the U.S. Justice Department. Now, he sat down for an exclusive interview with CNN's Poppy Harlow.
There's reporting that the DOJ is laying the foundation for a possible antitrust investigation into Google. What's your reaction to that?
You know, we've always felt as a large company, we've gone through similar scrutiny in other countries, including in the U.S. before. I think it's perfectly fine that, as companies get to a big scale, there is scrutiny. Scale does offer many benefits. It's important to understand that. As a company, we now invest sometimes thinking 5-10 years ahead without necessarily worrying about short-term profits. And if you think about how technology leadership directly contributes to leadership in a global economic scale, big companies are who are investing in technologies like AI the most. So there are many benefits taking a long-term view, driving long-term development, which big companies can do. But I think it's important to make sure that we are also able to create a healthy, competitive ecosystem in which other companies are able to emerge. And, and that's the important question. And I think scrutiny is right, and, we will participate constructively in these discussions.
Did you expect it to come, Sundar, or were you surprised by this news?
Maybe the specific timing of it, but we had always expected. We've gone through similar situations in Europe, and so it's not a surprise to us.
Congress, the House Judiciary Committee, has also launched this top-to-bottom antitrust investigation into you and your competitors, the whole tech industry, all of big tech. And I'm interested if that has changed any action you take within Google, meaning has it changed what you and the board are talking about? Has it made you rethink potential acquisitions for anything that may look anti-competitive?
For Google, the scrutiny has been there for a while now, so we've always taken that into account. There have been times when we've looked at some acquisitions and said, look, this is not something that may be possible. And so we've always taken that into consideration.
Because of this concern?
Yeah, potentially, making sure there's not too much concentration in a sector or so on. So, but I think for some of the other companies, maybe the scrutiny is newer. But for us, we've had this for a while.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
As you may have heard, some 2020 contenders and lawmakers think you guys and all your competitors are way too big. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democratic 2020 contender, has even put a billboard in San Francisco talking about breaking up big tech. And she says that Google and its competitors are, in her words, they have too much power. She says you hurt small business and stifle innovation. Is she right?
You have to look at the actual facts, and we, first of all, as a company, we do many things. Some areas we are upstarts. We are challenging other established companies, and so if you look across the breadth of what we do, you look at every area, you look at whether there's other competition and whether users have choices. And above all, are we doing well because we are executing well as a company, or and doing the right things and doing well or not? And so the details end up mattering. And so I also think it's important that when we look at it globally, our tech companies are going to contribute to our economic growth in an important way, and we compete against other countries, other companies, and so I think it's important to keep that in mind as well.
It sounds like you think she's wrong.
I think there needs to be a healthy debate. Right. Any campaign has moments around that, but what matters to me is the healthy, thoughtful conversations around it.
Your argument about other countries and America's competitiveness is similar to an argument Mark Zuckerberg has made. Basically, we're going to do it or China's going to do it. Is that essentially what you're saying? Don't stifle this growth in America or it will go elsewhere? It could. When being in Silicon Valley, for example, I always think, you can't take for granted that you will always be successful. I think you have to earn it. Now there are many countries around the world which aspire to be the next Silicon Valley, and they are supporting their companies too. So we have to balance both. This doesn't mean you don't scrutinize large companies, but you have to balance it with the fact that you want big, successful companies as well. Well, to that point, I know that you view Google as more than an American company. You view it as a global company. So are you essentially saying, look at us. You've even asked for regulation, for rules of the road.
But if we are too squeezed or broken apart, we won't hesitate to build more elsewhere.
It basically, I worry that if you regulate for the sake of regulating it, it has a lot of unintended consequences. If you take a technology like artificial intelligence, it will have implications for our national security and, and how, or for, other important areas of society.